Hey, product people, it's Mike with Product Collective, and I'm going to give you a quote, and I want you to see if you could think of the product person who said this quote, which is, love the problem, not the solution. Do you know who said that? Well, you probably saw the thumbnail of this video that we're making, so you already know it's Ash Maurya. Ash is the founder of LEANSTACK, one of my favorite product people in the world. And I mean that. When I was first getting started in a true product role, this was after I sold a company that I had, eFuneral. I got recruited to be director of product strategy for this ticketing company and got the job, despite me almost talking them out of it. I remember reading the book Running Lean by Ash Maurya. That was kind of one of my first ways of trying to figure out what it means to be a product person while I was on the job of being a product person. But literally, I had that book tattered and dog-eared and was really treating it as almost my co-pilot for that first year working in product. Years later, I come to meet Ash Maurya. We've gotten him involved in all sorts of things that we've done with Product Collective. He's spoken at Industry, the product conference, and Ash is just an awesome guy. So shout out to Ash here. But I remember one of the things that Ash, I mean, it's really what he is known for, which is the love the problem, not the solution. That's sort of a mantra of his. In fact, I have a hoodie that Ash gave me that says those exact words, love the problem. Now, why am I saying all of this? Well, obviously we're going to focus this video on that topic, but in all reality, as product people, sometimes we get so focused on the solution that sometimes we forget about the problem that we're trying to solve for. And it's so easy. I get it. You know, it's easy to fall in love with solutions. Sometimes we're known as idea people. So we come up with great ideas, right? And we get so set on those ideas. But here's the thing. What happens if the problem evolves? What happens if the problem changes? And we're so dead set on that solution. Now, Ash, back at Industry, the product conference, he actually had another analogy to share about this exact situation. His analogy had to do with keys. Let's cut to Ash speaking at Industry, the product conference. I believe this took place in Dublin, Ireland, where Ash talks about keys.
It's like building a key, but not knowing what door that's going to open. And sure, you can build a nice-looking key. It's a very, fast key. It looks good. Seems like it will be a good key, but you're not really sure. And then you have the harder problem of finding the right door to open with that key, which is a very challenging thing to do. If you just switch perspectives, and that's kind of the key mindset of today, if you switch perspectives and start with the doors of the problems we're solving, the key building for us product folks is actually the easier thing to do. So that is how we want to kind of shift perspective. Now, if we talk about what we are really trying to tackle here, it's fighting our internal biases. As product folks, as innovators, as entrepreneurs, we have a predisposition for solution.
Is that a great analogy? I mean, it sounds crazy, right? But seriously, what if we built the world's most amazingly designed key? Maybe it's super high tech. It's the Tesla of keys, but we don't know what door it opens. That's the only thing. That's a big problem, right? That's what happens when we focus on the solution and take our eye off the ball on what the problem actually is. Now, at that same conference that Ash Maurya spoke at, he went on to talk about the music industry and the evolution of the music industry. The problem actually stayed the same, but the solutions have evolved over time. I'm going to cut right to Ash at Industry, the product conference, and he will share more on what I'm talking about.
So buy this iPod, and today we are launching the music store. Buy any song that we have, and they had a growing catalog of songs for just 99 cents. And so that caused massive switching. So fast forward a few years, I'm no longer buying CDs, I'm buying individual songs on the Apple Store. And life was good for a few years until these services came on. So these are streaming services, first Pandora, then Spotify, and the message there was 1,000 songs not enough. Now we've got this explosion in music. We can give you 40 million songs in the cloud, which you can get access to for one low subscription of, say, $12, $15 a month, whatever that ends up being. So that caused massive switching. So today, I don't buy songs anymore on the Apple Store.
So think about it. Same problem, right? People want access to the music that they love. And so back in the day, and I'm old enough to remember when this was the case, the solution was, hey, here, I have a cassette for you. You put this in your cassette player and you can listen to this entire album. If you didn't like that album, oh, you could buy the single on cassette too. I remember those days. But then there was a time where it evolved into a CD and then a digital download. And now today, when's the last time you've downloaded a song? I can't tell you when it was for me, right? You stream it. You say, Alexa, play this song for me, and it just plays. You pull up Spotify, and you can access the entire library of any song that's been created, almost, right? I know not every song might be on Spotify, but you get the point. The problems actually stayed the same, but the solutions have evolved over time. Now, if we were so focused on the solution, maybe there'd be somebody out there still creating cassettes. I mean, I bet there is probably somebody that creates cassettes and probably makes money because they're the only person in the world doing it these days. But anyway, it's besides the point. So what do we do with all this? What do we make of all of these analogies and stories? I'm going to give you 3 do's and 3 don'ts when it comes to focusing on the problem, not the solution. And let's start with the don'ts. Let's start with the things that we shouldn't do. And this one's pretty basic. Don't fall in love with the solution. Avoid becoming so attached to your current product or solution that you ignore the changes in the market or you ignore how your users' needs have evolved over time. This is hard. It's a lot harder than it sounds. Because sometimes that solution that you have, it's one you've made a lot of money off of. It's one that you've won awards for. So many people have talked about it and said how much that they love it. But things change. Sometimes those pain points, those problems evolve, and you have to evolve with them. Don't assume your solution is the only way. Resist the temptation to believe that your approach is the best way to solve this problem. Look, there are multiple approaches. And this is why it's another good idea to get your team involved in the process. Chances are there's probably people on your team that when you're collaborating with them, you're going to come up with much better solutions than you would just on your own. The third don't, I would say, is don't ignore user feedback about the problem. Don't dismiss user input that doesn't align with your current solution. Don't just toss that to the side. You should be always getting user feedback, always getting customer feedback. That doesn't mean you should ask your customers what it is that they want. That means you should ask your customers, hey, what product should I build? What solution should I build? You know the drill. You have to constantly be in tune with what their needs are so you could bring solutions to life. All right, so what can we do? What should we do when it comes to all this? You should regularly revisit and redefine the problem. Always reassess that problem you're trying to solve for so that you could know, is your solution still relevant with how the current pain points and problems are with your users and your customers? This isn't, once every few years, or even this isn't like at the end of the year, let's do. This is a constant process. This is a constant thing that you should be doing. Always be mindful of revisiting that problem you're trying to solve for. You should engage with your users about their problems, not just your solutions. This isn't just going off and demoing your product. It's about having open conversations with your customers so you can understand those problems, those pain points you're trying to solve for at a very personal level. So you should always be engaged with your users. Do this year round. And then maybe the third recommendation I'll give is encourage solution agnostic thinking within your team. Try to build a culture where team members, they feel comfortable proposing, maybe it's even radically different approaches to how it is that you're solving that problem today. Those team meetings that you have, even with designers, developers, other product team members, it shouldn't just be about your products. If you find yourself in those meetings and the conversation is all about your own products today, might be time to take a step back and reapproach the situation. Try to create this culture where you're always thinking problem first, then solution. So some ideas there on how you can maybe rethink approaching the problem, not the solution. And a big thank you to Ash Maurya for not just giving that talk at Industry, the product conference way back when, but always trying to help me, even when you don't know it, Ash, help me constantly think about the problem. So that's it for right now. I will see you very soon in the next video.